That was quite a churn on Bangalore. Yeah, and getting it, I think, from all its most vibrant and colorful perspectives. So here, I think we have all the multi-passion people who formed a team which, pulled themselves into creating this. And I think it would be very interesting to get to know what exactly pulled them into it. Well, I would like to, I think, ask my first question to the director, Purandar Chaudhuri, who has been in the food and beverages business for long, long time. And as you realize that not just the physical ingredients, I think he also has understood the emotional and all the other kind of ingredients that go into food. So Purandar, would you let us know why Life in a Bowl?
Okay, first I would like to thank BIC for screening this film. Thank you very much to give us this particular platform to showcase the work that we have done. And second thing is, this is the most difficult thing to actually reply. Now, why you create an art or why you create a film, I really do not know. I mean, it's the same reason why you sing songs or why you write poetry, I guess. So there is no definite reason why you kind of make a film. But all I can tell you is the journey. I mean, what we have actually tried to do through Life in a Bowl. I think the way I kind of looked at it is there are various dots that we have in life, right? There are various dots: food, culture, people, places, history. So through Life in a Bowl, we are in a way trying to connect those dots and trying to explore the world that is there, or the world that we are in right now. So that is the approach, or that's the take of Life in a Bowl. That is one. And second is when you talk about food, there are two distinctly different things on food. One is a very tangible one when you talk about taste, smell, mouthfeel, all that. But there is one other very, very important aspect of food, which is the intangible part of food. Food is also your childhood. Food is also about your friends. Food is also about a song that you like. Food is also about a nice sunset that you have seen. So there are many things which are very, very abstract, which are very, very intangible, which is also part of a food that you like. So that's also one of the reasons, whatever the things that we kind of try to capture through this documentary. And third would be when I talk about food stories. When it comes to stories, is I believe some of the stories which are very close to our lives, are some things that are the stories which are told very well to us, are actually stories of simple people. And those are very simple stories which actually kind of moves us, inspires us to do great things in life. And we are kind of try to search stories of common people, and who are doing some great, extraordinary things through their lives. And we kind of try to stitch this entire thing where food remains the main narrative, and try to tell the whole story through this. That's the attempt.
So would you say that you've been able to say the story, tell the story the way you had it thought it out in your mind?
I don't know. I mean, I would say yes. I gave it a good shot, a very good try. I think people who are sitting here are the right ones to say right now that they feel that the story has been told well. But yes, I think we have gave it a good shot to tell the story the way we have seen it.
We will come back to the audience because your feedback is the most valuable that we could seek today. Just before that, we'll finish a few questions. As a first-time and self-taught filmmaker, what are the challenges you faced?
Now, I've been watching films and seeing films from a very young age, from when I was maybe 13, 14, 15, 16. The likes of Ray, Ghatak, Sen, and then also a lot of international filmmakers and things like that. So, I mean, they are the ones who are, in a way, my gurus, the people's film whom I watched. But I think one of the biggest challenges of a filmmaker is the same question which you asked is, how would you transform what is there in your mind into a celluloid? So I think one of the most difficult part of a filmmaker, one of the most challenging part of a filmmaker, that's what I think, is to come up with a very good screenplay. So that's one of the toughest thing to do. And I mean, I would just say that I'm just learning it, and I think that is the most difficult thing in terms of where you kind of look at the frames, you kind of look at the story, and you kind of do the storyboarding and things like that. I think that's one of the most difficult part of becoming a filmmaker. And the rest of the things are definitely there: camera angles, people that are there, and all that. But to my mind, I think that's the most difficult part to do. Okay, keeping a balance. Making people hooked onto the story. So that's exactly what it is. I think most difficult part of a film is, if you're short of content, then you tend to drag, and if you have too much of content, then you tend to rush. Now, how you can actually kind of balance it, that you don't rush and you don't kind of drag. So I would say these are some of the very, very important things of making a good film. That's the way I kind of see it.
Okay, so how did you arrive at the? I wanted you to know that he has also made one on Calcutta that's completed, and I'm sure someday we will be lucky enough to share it amongst us all. And this is the second one which has been made on Bangalore, and there are successive ones which are going to be made on other Indian cities as well as cities beyond India. So I would like to ask you, and I just happen to have seen the one on Calcutta also, so I would like to know, how did you arrive at the consistency with which you have given the treatment to these two films that you've made? The pitch remains uniform, the texture uniform. How did you arrive at that consistency?
I don't know. I just watching films, as I said, you keep on watching the great masters. And I mean, I don't know even if I could do that and how much of that I could actually do. But I think it's primarily by watching the great masters and seeing their work, 10 times, 15 times, 20 times, and kind of realizing and kind of learning where to stop, how much to say, how much not to say, and kind of things like that. So that's been my learning, and I'm still learning, yes.
So it's been a lot of exciting learning going on here, I think, with all of our teammates here. So I would like to ask Sachin, the cinematographer. Now, Sachin, you've been operating from Bangalore, handling still photography.
Yeah.
And here, how were the differences in switching from still camera to shooting a film?
Yeah, I think shooting film and shooting random pictures, it's entirely two different areas. Like it's very challenging when you suddenly shift from shooting still photos to a film. So basically, what the biggest challenge I faced is to understand the technical aspect of it, and I think in the process of doing it, I can say that I've learned a lot. It's a lot of a learning process altogether. So you do a lot of mistakes, and other aspect is that there are a lot of things that are not in your control. You're not shooting anything in a controlled environment when it comes to cinematography. So what happens when you shoot still photos? You have lights in control, your subject is in control, your background is in control. But when it comes to going out and shooting people, shooting street, you just have to be immersed with what's in front of you and shoot accordingly. So it's just, it's way more challenging.
So what would you say, that this transition, was it simple and organic, or was it something much more than that?
It wasn't really simple because I had to keep myself super updated with a lot of technical aspect of it. And like I said, it's a lot of trial and errors, and you learn and you do mistakes. But again, the mistakes you do can be really expensive in terms of everything. Like you're working with a team. So you have, you're not an individual who is working. It's like you're working with 5 different people together. So taking that into consideration, it's a lot more challenging. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Well, now I would like to speak with Chiraag, who has been the anchor. And I would like to ask him a question which will sound simple, but actually it's quite a complex one. So Chiraag, you wear many hats. Now, you are a trained soccer player, you run a sports tag company, and now here in Life in a Bowl, you are the anchor. Which would you say is the most difficult or challenging among these roles?
I think all of them have their own ups and downs and challenges. In terms of this one, though, just a bit of a backstory. Me and Purandar have been talking about this or doing something in the likes of this for many a year. We didn't know exactly what, but it was always about my voice. He kept saying that, okay, you might have to narrate. I kid you not, 7 days, 8 days before, 7 or 8 days before we were shooting Kolkata, he said, you have to be on camera as well. So lose some weight. Like, what am I going to do in 7 days? So anyway, I didn't listen to him. I continued with my weight gain, which I'm still doing, which will continue through all the episodes. But the challenges are more than just anything else. It's more revolved around time. All of us have our own schedules and what we're doing. It's difficult to balance work, life, plus what this is obviously a passion for all of us. We are learning every single day, every single episode that we do. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put one over the other in terms of challenges. I'm very fortunate that I know someone like Purandar, Sachin, Amrita, where I could be part of a project like this. We didn't quite expect it to go to where we are right now, where we are sitting in BIC, and tomorrow morning it's probably going to affect us when we wake up in the morning and we've been very fortunate for the first episode to be premiered in several film festivals across the globe. We didn't start out knowing these things. We just wanted to pursue something. So the challenge was more revolved around finding our vision, our voice. I think that's been a journey. We're still on that journey. We wanted to showcase different stories that make up a city, and use food as the lens that probably guides us through it. Hence why you would have probably seen a lot of other stories which might not be food related, but is extremely relevant towards the city and the representation of the city. I feel I might have gone a bit longer than what your question was.
It's fine. Yeah, when we take your feedback, it would be very nice to know that going beyond food was really effective or not. Now I would like to also mention that you're being well-traveled, that brought added layers, the calm and the poise with which you took us deep into each thing. So would you please tell us a bit about how it felt when Purandar first gave you the proposal of anchoring Life in a Bowl, the series?
I said no.
I can actually add that. From the very beginning, I was very clear that because that's the way I thought, because I felt it's a documentary. I didn't want someone to come and act, so I wanted a real person who would actually do the show, and I wanted somebody who is global, who is really well traveled, and who also shares a similar kind of passion that I have on food, on places, and things like that. And I know Chiraag for a very long time, and so I was very sure from the day one. So from the day or from the time I kind of conceived the story and I started writing about it, it's almost 5-6 years back. So he knew that something like this is actually happening, but I didn't tell him that he would be what would be his role there.
That's the key sentence here. I didn't know.
So that's exactly
I had no idea.
Yes.
Okay.
No, but to answer your question, I think as you would have probably seen through I was actually cringing there when we were sitting and watching some of the scenes where I'm eating. I didn't even know I was eating. They put up the camera, and he's meant to tell me that we were actually shooting, but we were all eating, and I was lapping it up. If John is here somewhere. Yeah, there he is. It was me and him, and we were very hungry that day. But I mean, it was more about conversations. I think once I started conversing with whoever I was conversing with, each one of them had a story, which was extremely interesting. I didn't quite realize what was going on around me. At points, Sachin's told me this several times, at points I'm probably singing in the mic, I have a mic on, and I don't even know that the mic is on, and he starts laughing. So it was more about me being present in whatever I'm doing at that point of time, because these are extremely interesting stories. So one can get engrossed in them. So the footage that we've actually shot is obviously far, far longer. Each and every interview we did, if it was with Mr. Koshi, Dipti, anyone else, it was extremely enthralling to understand their stories and speak to them.
Yeah.
So I honestly couldn't really care much about the surroundings or anything else. You know, these guys did a brilliant job in terms of covering all of that, albeit at times where I'm not quite happy with the outcome. But anyway, you know, I'm still eating on screen. But yeah.
So when he says the footage that was done was much longer, I would just like to mention that I really miss Ravindran, who did the editing, and today his perspective also would have been very vital for all of us. I come to Amrita. Amrita is a learning and development professional, and I would definitely love to know what pulled her into becoming an executive producer for Life in a Bowl.
My love for performing arts and everything related to films, post-production started in Bangalore. And I was still in college then. I used to visit my brother who used to live in Bangalore. And that's when I met Sangeeta Ramachandran and started doing theatre for Forum 3. And then one led to the other. Then I got into television production, and that's how it all started. And then I was always keen, and I always loved this production, post-production, films, etc. And when my brother Purandar said that he wants to do something like this, I just jumped. I said, I want to be a part of this, and just tell me how. And I chose to be a part of the production part.
So when you jumped in, when you took the plunge, how did it all pan out, you would say now?
Oh, it's been amazing. We've been evolving. I mean, we started thinking about the documentaries to begin with, and then tell stories of the different cities in India. We've just done 2. There are many more that's coming up. Along with that, we are also planning to launch a YouTube channel where, there are a lot of amazing interviews that we have been doing during our shoots for the various episodes. We want to showcase those stories through our YouTube channel, and there will be a lot more. And we are also not just limiting ourselves to films or YouTube channel. We are kind of going beyond it. We are also looking at merchandising, like the scarf that Chiraag is wearing right now. These are taken out of the stills of the various shoots that we have done in different cities, the stories, and they've been digitized and made into scarves. Then we have beautiful bowls with this, different narratives, and many more. I think, there will be a lot more, and we are still evolving and thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Now, as we go on to take your feedback, I would just like to say that, yes, I am feeling extremely humbled because right now already you got to know that these two know me for the last 25, 30 years. And yes, they've been with me in our theatre group, Forum 3. And it's these dreams that I really love watching. Thank you, Purandar. Thank you, Amrita.
Thank you.
Yeah, now we would love to hear from you, your feedback and questions, what have you. So please shoot.
The peanut is always roasted or smoke roasted. In Bangalore, it's boiled. The taste is different. Sorry. The other is the bhel puri is strange here. They put in shredded cabbage, shredded carrot and tomatoes. It's odd. And they have 1x2, which is 1 coffee into 2. To the extent I discovered recently, that's even a dosa that's goes 1x2. There's one little house that serves half a dosa. Don't ask me why. But that's Bangalore for you. It only happens here, right? So I just thought the food part of it, other than the Koshi, of course, it's an institution. It talks about the whole Kerala Syrian Christian, Bangalore food, blah, and of course military kitchen, etc. But there's a lot of other food which has a huge influence in Bangalore, the other neighboring states. That's there. And I think it'd be nice to touch upon that and tell us how is it different from what you taste in, say, a Bombay or a Calcutta that has a Bangalore touch to it. And I like the fact, now that you're mentioning it, that you've, without talking about it, you talked about the local people to the end. Maybe that's your focus, that the simple people's folk story will come out somewhere. So maybe Bangalore needs to have more than part one, part two, part three, sure, which I think has potential. But I really love the way you brought the stories alive, which some of us are familiar with. I didn't know about Taza Tindi, and I have to go check it out because of the kitchen and because, not about the kitchen, the cleanliness factor. So I think it's interesting that you have taken a very different take on it. It's almost like a part history, culture, and then of course the grounded stories about people. So without getting into the names of the big brands like the Swiggy's, Zomatos, and whoever else, which I thought was clever, but I think it'd be good to, if you're saying life in a bowl, a little bit more on food and the nuances.
Thank you so very much. Didn't get your name?
Sarita.
Sarita, it was a wonderful comment, actually. I mean, in my heart of hearts somewhere, I was also feeling that way, but you verbalized it, and now it's out in the open.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Sheetal Ramachandran, and I'm an old Bangalorean, so I just loved it because I could relate to everything which was shown, you know, from the way people are hogging away all the usual tindis, the peanuts, the bull temple. We could all relate to it. I mean, if you're an old Bangalorean, for sure you can relate to it, and I felt we haven't been doing much of it off late. So this kind of was nostalgic, and once, you know, we want to go back and do the same again. So this is like a reminder for us, okay, this still exists. Go here, go there, you know, do it again. So I really enjoyed it. And the only thing I was thinking at the end of it is how many kilos has Chiraag put on after the shoot? Because I saw him eating and eating and eating. But yeah, I loved it. I truly loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to answer that, but it's just going to get worse. And
the cinematography was really good, especially where they captured one guy actually posing for them while they were shooting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. And I would just like to add here to those new Bangaloreans here, what she mentioned about being an old Bangalorean, don't worry. If you're around, Bangalore will lull you into becoming an old Bangalorean very soon. It doesn't take much time. I've been here 42 years, so I know.
Hi, my name is Shilpa, and I think you had talked about, or you voiced a question whether, while this focused on food, did it make sense also to talk about different people and focus on people? And I think the way you guys did it was perfect, because while it did touch on the food, just bringing the elements of people who make Bangalore so special, and Deepthi being one of them, it really added a beautiful touch and just covered so many nuances and just epitomizes flavors, not just food, but via the people as well. So excellent job, guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, that was a very good short film, but I felt, it was touching upon old Bangalore a lot. Today, Chiraag has traveled a lot, so you know how Bangalore has transformed. You go to Koramangala and the Indiranagar 100 feet road. I don't see any of that in life in a bowl. But today, that is a big part of Bangalore. But otherwise, the old Bangalore, I could relate to it much, and I was, thinking about all the old times a lot. But being an old Bangalorean, even now, I have explored a lot of this Koramangala and Indiranagar, which I feel you could have just touched upon.
Sure. Now I'll just try to take all of that you said. I think it's very true. I mean, there could be now Bangalore has become a megapolis, right? And I think she's right. There are not only one, not only two. You can maybe do 4 or 5 on Bangalore itself. The kind of the food and the kind of diversity which Bangalore has. So we somehow had to make it tight. We had to somehow make it to whatever that we would like to say and things like that. But the point here is very, very carefully what we tried to do is, because we didn't want to make it into a food show per se, and it's not a food documentary, the food remains narrative, but we also touch upon various things of life, and that's what we did it very carefully, and that is what it has been. But yes, the point what you have said is well taken. But yes, we have touched upon old, but we have also touched upon new. Let's say if you talk about the brand which we shown, something like Taza Tindi, that's a very new brand. This particular brand is only 5 to 6 years old, and they're doing some transformative work. So we try to keep some kind of a balance of what we try to do. But yeah, maybe we will give it one more shot, Bangalore 2 or maybe Bangalore 3 going forward. Try to build up on stories. But there are so many things that we could do. I mean, there's just no into it. There is this very, very old Bangalore side. If you go towards, Coxtown, Frasertown, that's a very different side of Bangalore. So all these great cities, I mean, you can not only make one documentary, you can make 4 documentary, and still you'll feel, I think I've missed this. I should have done this, and that's always, you'll always feel that. I mean, by saying that we could have done this or we could have touched upon that. But we will try to maybe include that next few parts that we do.
Yeah.
I think just to add to what Purandar just said, we were also quite conscious in terms of what people already know Bangalore for. The things that Bangalore's known for in terms of not just tech but startups, and we touched upon it, but we don't want to go too deep into it because I think the narrative's already out there. It's been spoken about. It's already been talked about quite a bit. So we wanted to take a different sort of route into that. But also, you had a question in terms of what next. What next? Do you wanna?
Next, you means next projects?
City, maybe?
Cities, yeah, there are so many of them. But I think what we're looking at right now, next 3-4 would be definitely we're looking at Lucknow, we are looking at Benares, we are looking at Goa, we are looking at Rajasthan. These are 3-4 which are there right now, kind of lined up. But we all have full-time jobs. This is a passion, but it's a serious passion. So I also would like to thank my company who actually were very supportive to give me this kind of leave and time to come and go out and shoot and do this kind of projects. So yeah, the plans are all there, but we need to kind of share our calendar with me and Chiraag and saying, I mean, if both of us are free and things like that. But these are few projects which are lined up. So the whole idea is to do at least 5 more in next 12 months. So that's what the plan is, and then we'll take it up from there. And as she said, it's not only just doing the documentary, there are many things that we're looking at, which basically, if I could just sum it up in a way, for us, Life in a Bowl is an idea. And documentary is just one medium through we are kind of trying to explore that particular idea. But in art, I mean, if you pick up a different medium, the way you actually express that particular idea will be very different. So we have also started to work with various artists and painters and sculptors and people who are in fashion and things like that, just to see how this particular concept kind of comes up. So that is also something that we would do very consciously to see exactly how it comes up. So there are those plans. There are some sounds sane, some sounds a little crazy, but that's what the plan is for next few months, I guess. Thank you.
Already done a screening on Calcutta, Life in a Bowl and all of this. So do you plan to do these different cities and showcase it also in different cities, or we have to travel to Lucknow to see the Lucknow
Good
documentary?
No, I mean, you have to find a very nice patron like BIC. I mean, I will be very happy to show maybe once it gets ready, let's next 4 or 5 to show it in Bangalore. But no, I think there are 2 reasons. I mean, I always feel the people who are from the city who are part of this particular project, they need to see the film because they're part of this particular film. And that should always be done first because this particular film is about back. And it also gives us very, how would I say, very nice and very good feedback, the kind of feedback that we got from you in terms of where do you think we are going wrong or where do you think we could have done better and things like that. So that kind of helps you when you show this particular film in that particular city. So we would do that, but also once we are ready with maybe 4 or 5, we would definitely like to show all that particular work in, I don't know, maybe
some platform, maybe.
Maybe in some platform going forward to make it
some
open
OTT.
right now. So yeah, those things are all there, but that's what it is.
My name is Yusuf. I was born and raised here in Bangalore. But my family is originally from Gujarat. And you know, films like these, they evoke certain points in mind, right? So what came to my mind while seeing the movie and then listening to people's comments here and then the people on stage as well was, there is old Bangalore and then there's new Bangalore. And yes, it's good that there's the old and the new together, but can this continue for long is my question. Because when I look at my own self and my own family, my family comes from the south of Gujarat. We come from the Kutch region. And so in our house, we speak Kutchi or Memni, and it's a colloquial language. It's only spoken. There's no written script. I learned to speak that language with my family, just in my family. Nobody else knew it outside, neither in my school, neither outside. And I realize now that the difference in vocabulary between me and my grandparents is like huge. My grandfather says something and most of the time I have to ask my mom what does like 3-4 words mean. And I'm thinking, well, what about the next generation? And there must be so many stories like mine in a mega city like Bangalore. So I just thought of, posting this out to you all as an open question. What is going to happen in a mega city like Bangalore for all of these so many traditions, languages, cultures, food moving forward?
It's very difficult to reply like this. I can only say what I think, because there's nothing right or wrong about it. It's about what your take is. But I think one of the very important things about in Bangalore, which I think we try to bring it out, that yes, there's a lot of growth happened to this city. A lot of people from outside has come to this particular city. The city has expanded, but especially when it comes to food, the core is still very strong. You still have, Darshinis thriving here. And if you have not gone and, tried your food in a Suksagar or a Santisagar or a Darshini, then you don't know Bangalore. Okay, so those are still very strong. Those are still very core. Now, it really depends on that particular city in terms of how much of that you can kind of maintain it. And so it also has its pluses. It also has its minuses. How much of different ideas or different culture or different people that you can take into that particular city and can still keep those separate, or the city's culture itself is so strong that those people become a part of that particular city. For example, I don't know, that's the way I think. Let's say if you go to a place like Chennai has a very strong culture. If you go to or if you go to Calcutta, now you do not have to learn how to speak Bangla. People will force you to learn Bangla there in a span of 1.5 to 2 months' time. But in Bangalore, that's not the case. Nobody forces you to actually learn the language. So, but if you are somebody who would like to learn that particular language, you can learn that particular language, right? So these are very different, how would I say, nuances that you have in that particular city with the people that actually live there and kind of, things like that. So very difficult to say, but that is what we are trying to, explore.
Yeah, I'd like to just add a little here because of having spent many, many more years over here, that this city has been allowing continuously for various cultures to coexist. I do not know how many years your entire family has been here. So here, this city used to be having 40 years ago only English theatre and Kannada theatre. I'm speaking about the theatre world. I'll come to the music world also and the art world also. So, right now, today, cut to 2022, from 2020, there have been Hindi theatre festivals happening here, which was not thought about at all 40 years ago when I had first come to this city. Similarly, when you look at music, again, there is so much of experimentation that has been going on in this city. And today you have separate festivals for Sufi music. And you know it. I do not have to go into great details. And in terms of art, again, yes, young people here, they are allowed to experiment to the hilt with material, with environment-friendly stuff. So there are projects and projects and projects that are getting executed in and around Bangalore, and they all have their own, individual characteristics, all intact. This city allows you that. Thank you very, very much for
It's been a fantastic audience. Thank you.
being so attentive to the whole film and asking such meaningful questions. Thank you.